Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Savage the Oppressed?
As long as I live, you will not harm him!
Kill him. No! Brother! Brother, please!
Savage was an apprentice to many powerful Sith. He was so powerful and so barbaric, everyone only referred to him as a monster.
This is not the work of a Sith Lord or a Jedi, but a reckless, impulsive animal.
You ignorant beast!
This thing, this animal is extremely dangerous. If you have any information about his whereabouts, you must tell us.
But he was a monster created by the dark side. He was always told he'd receive the power he needed to rule, but he only ever bowed down to those he served under.
I foresee we will do great things together. I shall teach you the ways of the dark side. We will be even more powerful than Lord Sidious. We shall rule the galaxy together, my apprentice. You have a natural ability, but we must hone it. Are you up for the challenge of putting your hate to better use?
Yes, Master. I was betrayed by Ventress. The Jedi are after me. I'm not nearly strong enough to defeat them all.
Calm yourself. You will be.
Always two there are, my brother. A master and an apprentice. And you are the apprentice.
The Sith Code states that through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. Ironic. He was made to believe that the dark side could break him free of the chains that held him back. But those chains were forced on him by the dark side itself.
I really enjoy Star Wars The Clone Wars. It's one of those shows that had a pretty rough start, but as it kept going, just kept getting better and better. I'll occasionally get the nostalgia itch to rewatch a couple episodes, like the Umbara arc, or, the retaking Geonosis arc. So, the prequel movies are all about seeing Anakin's fall to the dark side, and the Clone Wars TV show helps make this fall seem more gradual. Over the course of the series, we see Anakin fall deeper and deeper into his hate and anger.
Dooku would kill me for losing a Naxus.
And you think I won't?
You're a Jedi. You're no good. I don't have such weaknesses.
Now let's try that again.
Each of the prequel films has a villain that represents some aspect of Darth Vader. Maul is a ruthless warrior. Dooku tries to come across as reasonable, as someone you would want on your side, when in reality he'll just betray you if it benefits him. And Grievous is a powerful warrior who almost died and was reborn as a cyborg. All of these characters represent some specific aspect of Darth Vader. That's the whole point of the prequels. And if you want to hear more about this, here's a video that I rewatched recently that talks about this way more in depth. Now, as I've gotten older and trained my powers of media literacy, I've tried to rewatch the Clone Wars with this view in mind, that the villains represent some aspect of who Anakin would become in Darth Vader. Obviously, the character I want to talk about today is Savage Oppress.
Whoa! Million credits. Who is this Savage Oppress?
Alright. I get it. His name is a bit dumb, but come on, it's Star Wars. But something I always wondered is, what was the point of Savage? When I was growing up, he had no point to me. He just showed up and then did a couple fights and then died. Like, why did they make him in the first place? He's only in, 8 episodes at most? He doesn't advance any grand Sith plot. He's only a yes man following whatever order he's given. All he really does is find Maul, but Mother Talzin obviously knew Maul was alive, So it's not really a stretch to think she could have sent literally anyone else from the Night Sisters to find him. Hell, maybe she would have eventually sent Asajj to find Maul. So I'll ask this question: what purpose does Savage serve in the overall story of Star Wars? Or more specifically, how does he relate to Darth Vader? To give you some context in case you haven't seen the Clone Wars TV show, or it's been many years since you've watched it, Count Dooku had an assassin named Asajj Ventress, who was secretly his apprentice. His master Darth Sidious told Dooku to have Ventress killed, and he assumed that she did die. He was seeking out a new apprentice to replace Ventress, and unbeknownst to him, the Night Sisters were plotting against him. Savage was chosen to be the new apprentice and trained under him until Ventress revealed the plot and made Savage turn on Dooku. They failed to kill Dooku, and Savage eventually fled back to Talzin, thinking that Asajj betrayed him. She sent him on a quest to find his brother Maul, and that should be enough to understand his introduction. As always, you can watch the episodes he appears in when you're done watching this video. After rewatching the episodes he's in, I think I finally understand what he's supposed to represent. I think Savage is the perfect Sith apprentice. He is powerful, gigantic, barbaric, but more importantly, he is always obedient. Savage is always the apprentice. He never tried to be anything more than that. From the very beginning, he was only ever viewed as a pawn.
A man who we will deliver to the Count with all of the training and skill an assassin can possess. This warrior must have no loyalty to Dooku. He will be our pawn.
Now, most of the time, that's how Sith view each other, just as pawns to be played and thrown away when it benefits them. But you could say that most of the Sith start off as pawns, but they eventually try to promote to something greater when given the chance. But Savage never tries to be anything more than an apprentice. He has no drive to do that. One of my favorite book series that I remember reading as a teenager was the Darth Bane trilogy. It's no longer canon, but who cares? In, I believe, book 2 or 3, I can't remember which one, there's a passage where Bane says that he is getting older and eventually he'll get weaker. And he doesn't like how his apprentice is just waiting around, how she hasn't tried to challenge him for the title of Dark Lord of the Sith. He makes it clear that the Sith apprentice needs to challenge the Sith master at their strongest. And he's worried that by her waiting, she's just going to make, a bad example for Sith to come, to just wait for the master to get older and die. The Sith apprentice needs to have some kind of drive to become the master. When Savage does find Maul, the two of them travel the galaxy, and Savage says, hey, this should be a master and apprentice relationship. We're equals, let's share our power. But Maul pushes back on this and proves that he is the stronger of them, and promises to continue his training, not as his brother, but as his master.
Brother, let us share our strength. There is no need for dominance between us.
Always two there are, my brother, a master and an apprentice, and you are the apprentice.
You have grown so powerful.
And I shall complete your training, not as your brother, but as your master.
No matter where Savage went, he was always okay with being number 2. This is a unique aspect of the Sith that we never really get to see, when an apprentice doesn't really want to be the master. Something else I want to point out real quick is Star Wars was always meant to be peak cinema. It was always a visual story. The visuals we see of Savage are really well thought out. They really use how big he is to his advantage. When he's not bowing to his masters, he's towering over whomever is in the same scene with him. It's just true peak visual storytelling at its best. Like, look at this shot between him and Maul. They managed to make this hulking monster appear small compared to Darth Maul. Just, mwah, chef's kiss. So the best way I can describe Savage is he never has any agency in his own story. Savage only ever goes where he's told to go, and always waits for some kind of order to be given to him. Even him going back to Mother Talzin and being sent on his quest to find Maul is more her pulling the strings than it is Savage following his own destiny. And you know what? The same can be said of Darth Vader. Until he learned about Luke, he was only Emperor Palpatine's right hand. He followed orders and did what he was told to do, just like a good number 2 second in command should. The thing I realized about Savage is that he represents always being a Sith sucks when you're only ever the apprentice. You're always taking a bunch of needless shit from the master, you get tortured while also getting promised you'll receive unlimited power, but if you're unable to beat the master, or if you never have any intention of challenging the master in the first place, you'll be doomed to a life of servitude until the day you die. The only reason Vader escaped this horrible existence was because of his love for Luke, but sadly we can't really say the same for Savage. There are a lot of parallels between Vader and Savage. They're both reborn through the dark side, and their creators use the death of a loved one to push them all the way into the dark side.
Kill him.
Savage, you know me. I am your kin. Do not do this. Brother, please, survive!
Where is Padme? Is she safe? Is she all right?
It seems in your anger, you killed her.
I couldn't have. She was alive. I felt it.
The way the galaxy views them is the same too. We know that there is still Anakin underneath the mask of Darth Vader, but the galaxy as a whole only ever saw him as a brutal monster. Same thing with Savage. We know that he was forced into this role, that he was basically brainwashed and never really had any control over his own destiny. But if the Jedi Council was told of this, that hey, Savage is just as much of a victim as this as any other one in this war, I doubt that they'd really believe it. Their deaths also have some parallels. They both died at the hands of Darth Sidious, and their final moments were spent with someone of their family. But Savage was chained down by the Sith, whereas Vader was freed from those chains in his final moments by Luke.
Brother, I am an unworthy apprentice. I'm not like you. I never was.
Hypothetically, Savage could have gone into hiding after escaping from Dooku, but he was so obsessed with gaining power that he never thought about just walking away. Mother Talzin sent him to find Maul, and Maul kept abiding by the rule of 2. They could have just stopped being Sith, given this second chance at life and take it and make the most of it, but they were always blinded by hate and revenge.
Brother, what are you saying? Into the filth, through the grief, Jedi!
Revenge. I must have revenge.
The chains that they were supposed to break free from, via the dark side of the Force, were put on them by the Sith to begin with. Savage is meant to be a more exaggerated version of Vader, and I really enjoy seeing how they handled him. I love how his first training session with Dooku points out how he's just a sloppy brute with no technique, but we do see him hone his technique throughout the couple episodes he's in.
You have no technique. Sloppy.
Sadly, he never truly honed his skills because in his final moments against Darth Sidious, he reverts back to just mindlessly swinging his lightsaber. Also, one extra thing I noticed is that Savage really does help reinforce the idea that the Jedi and Sith are not too different from each other. When he's training with Dooku, he says that the task given to him is impossible.
Now, lift them.
What you ask is impossible.
Impossible. The task is only impossible because you have deemed it so.
Now, who else also says something similar to this?
Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
No different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
too big.
I think it's a fantastic detail to have both Dooku and Yoda teach their students that there is no such thing as an impossible task. But Dooku tortures Savage to make him achieve his goal, whereas Yoda is patient with Luke. You know, it's just cool seeing Dooku, who was once Yoda's Padawan, teach these lessons too. It's scenes like these that really help connect the movies and shows to one another. I didn't really go too much into this, but in the first episode we see him in, he's trying to protect his brother. He's willing to give himself up to Ventress if it means that Farrell gets to walk away alive.
As long as I live, you will not harm him! Please, spare him. Take me.
The only time Savage ever had any agency in his own story was when he was trying to protect his family, but the Night Sisters used that against him. His life is just a more condensed version of Darth Vader's, and I've come to appreciate characters like Savage as I've rewatched older shows that I grew up with. Dumb name aside, he really does a great job showing the worst parts of what it's like to be a Sith. That's all I wanted to say about Savage. I know this might not be the video you were expecting right now, but I wanted to get something short done while I work on a bigger project. I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe if you haven't. You know, a comment or two might be nice if you're really feeling generous, if you really want to tickle my YouTuber ego. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.